Hey guys, I'm the Pierce and I'm gay. No, really, I am. Okay, so this video is going to be about my coming out story, and I'm not making it to publicly broadcast my sexuality across the internet. I'm making it so that other people that are questioning their sexuality can watch it and see how I dealt with different situations and different issues that arose when I finally accepted myself and came out to my family and friends. I hope you enjoy the story. So it was 2008 and it was just after my birthday party, and I came out to my best friend. He questioned my sexuality, but instead of saying I was gay, I said I was bi, as I felt much more comfortable saying that, as I hadn't completely accepted it within myself. Anyway, it didn't really come up again for quite a while, and then it was the night before I went away on a 1-month holiday with my family to Queensland, and he told me that he was gay, and then at that point in time I said I was gay too. This brought up a lot of issues. It was really hard because I went away on the holiday with my family, and the whole time I felt really distant from them because there was this big secret I was keeping from them now that they didn't know about, obviously, that I'm gay, and it was just really awkward and stuff. And it was surprising because it hadn't felt like that before, but after I told my friend, it opened up a lot of things, and I felt like I really needed to talk about it. I rang him numerous times on that holiday, which was really good, so I had someone to talk to. Anyway, I came back from that holiday in January, and I remember seeing him and stuff, and it was all fine. He didn't treat me any different at all. The rest of the holidays, I'd become really distant from my family. Like, I don't know, I just spent a lot of time on my computer and I didn't talk to them much, and it just felt really awkward. And I remember I was sitting at my computer and I was on Facebook and I was talking to people, and then my mum burst into my room and she's like, "Pierce, you have to tell me what's going on now." I sort of sat down on my bed and I left my computer open, and my mum sat on my desk chair here, so I was sitting over there. She was sitting there and she was just looking at me, and I'm like, I remember earlier that day, my best friend had texted me, and I'm like, I think my mum's gonna find out, and he was just like, be honest, and that's what he said to me. I was really scared at the time, and I'm just like, Mum, I'm gay, and she was sitting there and she's like, what? Like, she didn't believe me. No, you're not, she said. And that's what she said. She's like, no, you're not. And it was really like, I was sort of sitting there and I was shaking and I was sort of crying a little, and she was sort of crying, and I was sort of like burying my face into pillows, and it was just ridiculously awkward, like the tension in the room. If I had a knife, I could have gone shh. Anyway, so yes, I could have cut the tension. My best friend, he was very flamboyant, and my mum was like, is he gay? And I'm like, no. And she's like, no, tell me, is he gay? And she was very forceful about it. And my mum wouldn't tell anyone, but my best friend, when he told me he was gay, he told me not to tell anyone. I didn't want to say anything, and then my mum was like, tell me, and she got really forceful because she was sort of angry, but she was a bit shocked and still really confused, and she didn't really know what was going on. And I'm like, yes, he's gay. And she's like, he's a bad influence, I don't want you hanging out with him and stuff. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. He's my best friend, he means a lot to me. And she was saying that he was the reason I was gay, and I'm like, no, he has nothing to do with my sexuality. I've felt like this for a while now, before I even knew him. My mum, she was questioning it a lot, and it was really like, it was still really awkward. Then suddenly my Facebook made that little popping sound, and it went. My mum turns her head and reads the screen. This other guy was talking to me, and he was joking around, and he full on said, if you come over to my house, I will give you a blowjob. He was just being a dick, he was just joking around. And she reads it and she's like, if I come over to your house, if you come over to my house, I'll give you a blood. She turns to me and she's like, what type of people are you talking to? And she burst into tears and starts to cry. It couldn't have made the situation any worse. Like, that, like, just had to happen then. I was just like, what the hell? Like, he says it right now, the worst possible time. And looking back, it's actually quite humorous for something like that to happen. Anyway, I stood up and I exited Facebook and closed my laptop screen, and I dived back down on my bed. It was just so awkward, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what have I done? What has happened? My mum's like, I have to tell your father. I'm like, no, I don't want you to. And she's like, no, I have to tell him. And I'm like, fine, you can tell him, but you're not telling my brothers. And she was like, but they're gonna find out sooner or later if you bring a guy home. And I'm like, no, I'll tell them when I'm ready. And she was like, fine. She went off and she was upset and I was upset, but she told me she would always love me. and she went off to her room, and it was really hard, and I remember going to sleep. So the next morning after that all happened, my dad came into my room and he's like, "Pierce, I'll accept you no matter what, and I'll always love you." And that was really sweet of him. So a few weeks passed, and things had gotten better to the previous month. So in January it was really awkward. That had sort of gone away, but a new sort of awkwardness had sort of started to come up. My parents were in sort of denial about it, like they just thought it was a stage I was going through. I felt really guilty about telling my mum about him, and he was my best friend, and I just had to tell him what I had said. And I told him, we were at the front of the shops one day, and I'm just like, "I told my mum that you were gay." He's like, "But I told you not to tell anyone." And he was angry, but at the same time, like, "Look, I really didn't mean to. It was really stressful at the time. I don't think you understand what it was like, but my mum won't tell anyone, I promise you. It was just the situation." And thinking back, I wish I didn't do it, because a lot of stuff followed that, which was really difficult. My friend came really distant, like we still hung out at school and stuff, but he wouldn't come over, he wouldn't hang out. He would refuse to, like, if my family was at home, like my mum or dad or brothers, he wouldn't come over. He wouldn't hang out with me, and it was really hard because he was my best friend. I would do stuff with him all the time. It sort of came into the middle of the year, June, July, and he just like, "Pierce, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. I don't want you to talk to me on Facebook, text me, I don't want you to call me, I don't want you to hang out at school, I want you to cut all communications, I don't want to be friends with you anymore." And that was really difficult. That was around the time I started uploading videos on my YouTube channel, and I uploaded the ones with this little guy. Hi everybody! This is the little pig. And there's sort of a little history behind him. I used to film because if you look back in my previous videos, I've got phone films, and I used to film videos on my phone and send it to my best friend every day. I would like create a video and send one to him, and I couldn't do that anymore, so I started filming them and I uploaded them onto YouTube, heaps of them, and there's around 50 of them I think online, so you can go back and watch some of them. I started doing that, and it was really nice in the sense that YouTube allowed me to connect to people in a completely different way, because I felt really lonely at that point in time. I felt like I had no one. I couldn't talk to my family about it. My best friend had pushed me away, and no one else knew. That year came to an end, and in 2010 I started studying at uni. In around June and July of that year, I started to feel more comfortable with it myself. I felt like I wanted to tell my brothers. I was texting one of my brothers, and I told him through text messages. And then my other brother, I was speaking to him in private Facebook chat. It was sort of weird, I didn't do it in person. And my brother that I was speaking to in Facebook chat, as soon as I told him, he came into my room and we spoke about it. And he was really cool about it. And my other brother, he told me he loved me and he would love me no matter what. He would accept me and look after me. He's like, "I always promised Mum that I would look after you no matter what, and I always will." So that was really kind of him, and that meant a lot. After telling my brothers, I didn't tell my mum and dad that they knew. Then it came around to September of 2010, and I'd met someone that I really liked, and we just had a really strong connection, and we talked heaps, and then we started dating, and he became my boyfriend. He went overseas on a holiday, and while he was overseas, I told my mum that I was in a relationship with him. It was awkward at the start, but my mum accepted it much more now because she had had a lot of time to think. This was around nearly 2 years later after first telling him that I was gay. After telling my mum, he broke up with me online over Skype, and that was really difficult, and I found that really hard because he meant a lot to me. But anyway, I can remember me and my mum, we went to the shops later on. I spoke about him a lot, and it was sort of a way for me to talk about different things that people experience, as sort of a way to get my mum to understand that it's not easy. Like, being gay isn't a choice, it's just who you are. Plus it allowed me to communicate without the issues directly relating to me, but at the same time they did. Anyway, after that breakup, I didn't date anyone for the rest of the year. It came into the new year of 2011, and I met someone new. We really hit it off and stuff. I remember speaking to my mum. I said, "I need to speak to you privately," and she came into my room and I'm like, "I met someone, I really like them, and we're dating, and I want to know if they can stay over." And it was a big deal. Like, there was lots of sort of, like, my mum wasn't really sure, and she's like, "I don't know, you'll have to speak to your dad about it." And I'm like, no matter what, he's gonna stay over. Like, I was pretty positive about it. I'm like, no, he's gonna stay over. My brothers are allowed to have their girlfriends stay over, so I don't see why I can't have someone that I'm dating stay over. My dad came into my room and I asked him, and my dad's like, "Yes, that's fine." So my parents were really good about it. Like, they were really accepting, and I really appreciate that. that relationship didn't last. So at this point in time, I'd really had a chance to start accepting myself for who I was, and it was 2010 was probably the biggest time when I really became comfortable within my own skin about it. It came to the end of 2011, and at this point in time, I'd really accepted myself for who I was, and I was really confident and comfortable with my sexuality. I'd experienced a lot, and it made me realize a lot about myself, and that I shouldn't really hide who I am because it's not worth it. You only live once. I posted on my Facebook wall on the 20th of December 2011, "Oh, BTW, I'm gay." It was interesting because not all my family knew, as in my mum and dad and my brothers knew, but my other relatives had no idea that I was gay. After posting this on my Facebook wall, my friends said some pretty funny things, and I'll just read you a couple of them. The first comment was, "Doesn't everyone know that already?" ? And then underneath they were like, "Or is this one of those exciting Facebook coming out?" Someone else said, "Good on you, feels good, doesn't it, to say it aloud, it's empowering." And then they posted 2 little hearts. One of my friends was like, "Oh my god, love you Pierce, proud of you. If people don't like you for who you are, they can get beeped. Don't change for anyone." Someone else commented, "I like that." Another person said, "I'm proud of you, stay strong." One of my friends said, "Oh my god, no way, ? That's a joke, they go to uni with me," and I was just like, what? Another person said, "Bright and happy, that's the way to go." That's some of the things that people commented, and I didn't get anything negative, and that was really good. It was all really positive. And I did later on get a private Facebook post from my auntie, and she was really kind of, she's like, "I love you no matter what, Pierce, XX." So that was really sweet of her. So things turned out really well there, and now I am uploading this video pretty much telling everyone else if they're watching it. It's a really interesting thing coming out, and I would only recommend doing it if you're ready, and if you do want to come out to someone, or you are thinking of coming out, I would highly recommend making sure you have someone to lean on. So if you are about to come out to your family, most likely have a friend that you've come out to first, that you can rely on, you know they're there for you, and you know they accept it. But I think something you should always keep in mind is communication is extremely important. It's all in a learning experience, and lots of people do it in their own unique ways. I did it in person, some people do it through letters. There are many different ways of doing it, and you just have to find a way that suits you best. I'm going to make other videos talking about this sort of stuff and things that relate to it, and I'll talk about how I finally came to accepting myself for who I was in more detail, like before I even came out. So leave a comment below if you have any questions. I will put links to other stuff in the box below if there is anything that I think of, and subscribe because I will be uploading more videos, and favorite and like this video if you like it. You don't have to, but yeah, but tell me what you think, and you can tell me your coming out stories or different experiences you have had, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. See ya. Okay, YouTubians, I know you want to see more, so stay tuned. Bye. I'm the Pierce, I got heaps to say. Life I'm still here. Bye. My way. Come on everybody and follow along as you watch my awesome vlog.